One of the things I sometimes wonder about is do artists actually get better over time? And better is a really vague, general term. But basically what I'm, not that it even matters, to be honest. I mean, who really cares? But if you step back and just look at artists that you're a fan of, or just musicians, or whatever creative field, a lot of times the artist's best work is their first stuff. And as they get older, they get more experienced, they get more skilled, but their work, it's not necessarily as good. And again, good or better, these are just terms that I'm throwing around to get the idea across. Don't take it literally. And of course, this is just an opinion. I'm not really saying it's it's not really one way or the other. It's case by case. But in many situations, when an artist is trying to make it, they're new, they're hungry, they're desperate a lot of times. I know I was. I wanted to, I mainly just draw comics. That's my field. But I draw in general, and that's how I pay the bills. And I was beyond desperate to make that happen. And of course, in the very beginning, I wasn't very good. I wasn't that experienced. I didn't really have the knowledge. I didn't have anything. I just had hope. I had goals in mind, but I just wanted to make it. I wanted to, really, to just put it simply, I just wanted to be able to not work a job, just to be realistic. I wanted to just draw and survive like that. But as time has gone on, I could use myself, or I could use any, most artists, to be honest, that, on paper, figuratively, you are improving. You're getting better. You're honing your skills. But a lot of times, it's just not as exciting. You play it safe. You tend to, a lot of times, it's easy to fall into traps where you're just doing what works. Not to toot my own horn, but I get bored pretty easy, I think, and it forces myself to switch it up, and try different techniques, and constantly trying to hone and perfect what I'm doing. And that's subjective, but what I'm trying to say is, in a lot of cases, think of your favorite band, or your favorite musician, your favorite comic artist, your favorite comedian, your favorite whatever. A lot of times, their first stuff is it's exciting because there's just so much raw energy. There's so much you can feel how bad they want this. You can feel, and there's something to that. While it might not be the most skilled thing in the world, what you're getting in place of that is you're getting passion. You're getting what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I mean. You're just getting, and one of the things I kind of touched on it earlier, but it's that newness, and this is a slight tangent, but over time, the more familiar you are with an artist, or the more you're used to seeing them, that newness starts to fade, and that can be part of it. It's that as a fan, you're perceiving them to be not as exciting, or you've seen so much of their stuff after a certain point that maybe it can just kind of seem like it's you're just not as into it. You know, there's only so many ways they can switch it up, I guess, without just starting to become someone else. Which you see that all the time too. You'll see artists try to adapt to the times, and it just, I don't know about you, but a lot of times that loses its, you'll lose my interest that way, because it's like, well, who even are you? You're just trying on different costumes. You're just doing whatever you think is gonna keep you relevant. And I mean, sometimes you can kind of keep the core of what you are, what made people love what you do, but you see that all the time. But you hear it all the time that artists, including myself, we always think our best stuff is what we're doing right now. Pretty much. I mean, I could look back at my first, well, not my first comic, but my first published comic, and I think, if I'm being objective, if I'm being honest, I've never done anything that good. And again, by good, I just mean, if you're not familiar, I'm talking about my book, The Freak. And it doesn't matter. You don't have to be familiar with it, but that was like the most, well-packaged, put together, concise story and art all in one. That, technically the art is not, it's as if you were to view it as an illustrator, let's say, it's nothing impressive, but it worked well for that book, and it just went along with it. And what I was trying to get across, I think I haven't been able to do that the way that I did then. And that was also the book that kind of goes along with what I'm saying. I was pouring everything into it as if, it might sound insane, but I was doing this book. It felt like I had to do it. I could not, my life could not end without this being complete. It was urgent. It was, and at first I was scared to do it too. But I just had to do it, and I just poured everything into that art-wise, and as far as the story, it was just potent. It was so potent. But fast forward to now, I would say that my art, just the art side alone, it's massively improved. It's pretty hard to deny if you were to compare, but I'm really just not doing my best stuff. I know I'm not. I hope that I can get to a place where my stuff is well-rounded in that way again, but I'm just not doing anything as good as that overall. Like, maybe if you look at just drawings themselves, but if you're to look at the comics, just comic wise, it just doesn't compare. And another thing that they always say, which I pretty much agree with, is that, an artist can, like if you look at a body of work, whether it's a novel or an album or a comic book or whatever, it's like their whole life's work is embodied in that first effort, that first release. It's like I said, it's just so potent. It's so new. It's so full of energy. It's palpable. There's nothing like that. And then that's where we get the sophomore slump. Is that right? That's the term. I don't know why now that I'm saying it, it's just sounding wrong. But that second go at bat, it's just so often it just doesn't. It's not doing it. It's not, and I had the same thing. Again, not to make it about me, but I can relate to it. By the way, I'm not trying to. I think I already kind of said this, but I'm not trying to. I'm just kind of exploring this idea. It's something that I think about. I don't think it's necessarily. There are artists that get better over time in the sense that it's they're able to maintain that energy, or that they're able to garner excitement. They're able to, I don't know, they can keep that, I don't even know how, having trouble finding the words. They're able to just keep it going in a way that they're just consistent, I guess. They're more consistent, and they can gradually improve in a way that I guess it kind of goes against what I'm kind of saying here, meaning that they do improve over time. They not only get more skilled, they're not only better at drawing or better at singing or better at songwriting. They're doing works of art, essentially. They're doing better bodies of work. They're doing better stories. They're just getting better every time as they go. And I mean, like I said, I guess it's a case by case thing, but you can also look, when creators, they make it big, they get rich, they get comfortable, that's when all the energy just goes away. It changes, and that's not always the case, but you see examples of that. You see where they just get comfortable. Oh, I made it. I've got a fan base. I've got some money. I basically made it. So now I'll just kind of coast. I'll just kind of just phone it in, do what I think people are looking for. They're not really pushing the boundaries anymore. They're no longer trying to make it. They're no longer trying to prove anything. And even when they think they are, sometimes they'll lose it and they don't even realize it. They think, but just by virtue of the fact that their whole life has changed, their whole career has, come to fruition, they lose it. They maybe not completely, but they were never able to make that spark again. They're never able to, and I guess part of me is afraid of that. I wonder now, am I just going downhill? Am I, who cares if you can draw better? Is that really what it's about? No, it's not. Are you making things that people even care about? Are you making things that, are you really saying what you want to say? Are you getting things across? Are you, like I said, making a great story overall? Are you making potent bodies of work, well-rounded bodies of work? And I think part of what keeps us going as artists is that we're always thinking this is our best thing. We're always chasing that. Even if maybe your early stuff, by the way, I don't think anything I've made is that awesome. It's just, if I'm to look at everything I've done, that first book, that first release it's got to be my best thing. If I'm just being honest. I would like to think the book I'm doing now is my best, but certain aspects have definitely improved. Certain aspects are stronger, but overall, I'd be kidding myself if I said, "Oh yeah, this is my best stuff." Maybe I'm just more honest than the average artist, but I know it's not. I'm trying. I would like to, but I feel like I'm just not. I'm not able to do that right now, at least. I don't know what it's going to take. And that's kind of a side topic, but it's pretty related. People like to say that, they like to romanticize depression. They like to romanticize these negative life events where artists will take that and turn it into art, or turn it into a story, turn it into music. And, that's kind of a thing too. Like, does good art require that? And I mean, I don't know if it requires it, but I wouldn't argue that it doesn't help. That it's something to draw from. It's something, and I would also say, people always say, you just went through this thing. You're about to make the best work ever. You're about to... I mean, maybe when you get through it. I always think, like I said, people like to romanticize depression. They like to... They think it's cool. They think it's the tortured artist. It's... But I would argue that maybe once that storm has passed, you'll be better off. I always think I'm doing my best stuff when I'm happy, when I'm in a good mood, when I'm You know, I'm not in a dark place when I'm not whatever. That's when the best stuff is happening. You're in a clear headspace. You're focused. But then again, maybe that falls in the category of delusional artist, thinking you're doing your best stuff now when those days have passed. Your best stuff was when you were in your earliest stages. I don't know if this is even making sense, or if anyone relates to this, or what do you guys think? Like, would you say that artists do improve? I mean, in most cases, they do overall. I'm speaking in pretty broad, general terms here, but this is something that I always think about. A lot of times, artists, you can render that belt buckle so well now, but what are you actually doing? Like, does that even matter? Are you really stepping up your game? Are you really, or was the best stuff your first release, your first work? And I think a lot of times it is. You know, what am I missing here? What am I not? I'm just kind of just kind of talking, you know. But what are your thoughts on this? Yeah, I guess that's gonna be it. All right.